Hello, everybody watching and listening, and you're very welcome to the Bootcast, a podcast and video series dedicated to adventure antics, travel tales, and spectacular stories from around the world. I'm your host, Eugene Devereaux from irishbootstrapper.com. Today is episode 2 with my guest who takes a different slant, different angle on the travel theme. Would you please welcome Chris Boyd from whynottotravel.com.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me on. This is my first podcast, video chat. What's the difference?
Well, the difference is really just that this will be on YouTube as well. So I started a YouTube channel for irishbootstrapper.com, and we'll just have a video version of it there. And then obviously the podcast, which will be available on iTunes, Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and it'll just make it easier for people to find it on the different podcast streaming sites, basically.
All right, excellent,
cool. Where can you tell us a bit about yourself? So where you're from,
sure,
what you're doing now, what you're working at, and stuff. Where you are?
I'm from the States. I am from Wisconsin, which nobody knows, but it's close to Chicago, so that's enough. And I'm living abroad in Vietnam. And one of the things I do is I run a podcast, a blog called Why Not to Travel, which features other travelers, cautionary tales, things that go wrong. And in the moment, you're not really sure what's going to happen, but it's just one of those times things will go wrong.
Cool. So for anyone who's watching or listening, I actually featured in one of his articles on whynottotravel.com. Mm-hmm. So we can get into that maybe later on. So you're in Vietnam now. Are you working full time on something else, or in a completely different area, as well as doing your own thing online?
I do work as a teacher, English teacher, as well as doing my thing online. And I do have a couple other projects, but my day job is teaching.
Cool. Nice. Do you like it?
Teaching, I think a lot of people who teach would agree that it can come in waves. There's times where you're really sick of it and burnt out. And there's times where you really feel you're making a difference. So, if I feel like I'm connecting to the students and I'm helping them, it feels good, but sometimes it's pulling teeth.
Yeah. Very good. So at this time of year, obviously the schools are finished. So is it a language center or like private lessons or?
Language center. Yeah. So all my hours are on the weekends almost. Start before 8, finish sometimes 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night.
Wow. That's tough hours, especially at the weekend.
It does. It's not a weekend anymore to me. I just kind of wake up the day. Today's Monday. It's my day off. That's okay. That's my weekend.
Yeah. Cool. So you're teaching English full time in Vietnam.
Ho Chi Minh City.
Mm-hmm. My home from home.
I'll always think of it as a second home.
Yeah. It's a great place, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really nice. I took a friend to get some spring rolls. Was it Friday? And I told him about your tale.
I can't believe looking back on it.
It does look inedible at first glance.
So funny, actually, but it actually feels plastic as well.
Yeah, I want to know how they make it.
Yeah.
I have this image that there's just some Vietnamese men out there like pounding rice and like these sheets over and over.
Probably is something like that, or maybe there's some kind of press thing where it's.
Now it's a press thing. Before that poor old man had to sit there with a hammer and hammer each individual rice. Now they got machines.
Yeah. Cool. So what were you working at back home in Wisconsin?
Not much. I was finishing university at 23, and by my last year of university, I'd heard about this opportunity to go, and I thought it'd be a nice way to spend a year and come back and start a professional life doing something. And so I finished my university. I had one more summer. I kind of looked at it like one more summer. So June, July, August, I tried to enjoy myself and went to Taiwan, was the first country. So yeah, no, I had plenty of part-time jobs in my life, but finished university, came out for a year, and that was 8 years ago.
8 years ago, wow, cool. So, why did you start traveling then? What was there a push factor, or was it something that you always wanted to do, or?
Probably early indoctrination from my father. I remember him saying growing up a lot, you should only spend money on two things, education and travel. So I kind of had this in the back of my head always. And I guess I was looking for an opportunity. And when one came along, I felt right. It felt like a gut decision, which I don't normally follow, but sometimes the gut is a powerful motivator.
Cool. And where did you head off to first?
It was a city, maybe the fourth largest city in Taiwan, which is down the west coast. Maybe was it an hour by train? There was a fast train, like a bullet train, and maybe from Taipei it was only 30 minutes. Town called Hsinchu. And when I was there, the fun fact about Hsinchu was every phone had a chip that came from this city. So it was a huge manufacturing hub for microelectronics.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
A lot of my students' parents probably were engineers or involved in production or some way involved with this massive industry from this town.
Wow. That's something that we don't really see in Ireland anyway, like where a whole town is built around this one factory or one industry. It used to kind of be like that a little bit to an extent, but back in the 80s, 90s maybe. But it's quite different now. Cool. So you started off in Taiwan. How long did you spend there?
I spent 1.5 years. I planned to do a year, liked it, extended a little bit. 1.5 years.
Were you working there or just living the dream?
No, unfortunately, I've had to work. It was at the largest school in Taiwan, the largest chain school in Taiwan. And then when I was there, they were expanding into China and Korea, maybe, I don't remember. But large school. I guess that was my first proper job, like 40-hour a week job after university, which is kind of strange.
Straight into work.
Yeah, I got training at a TEFL. They call it a TEFL, teaching English as a foreign language. Yeah. And right into a classroom, right into a difficult classroom. There was one boy there. Oh goodness, probably the worst student I've ever taught.
What did he do?
Well, he'd get angry, and he would. The thing that sticks out is I had to let him out of the classroom later because he'd push kids down the stairs, and he would like He'd spit on this. I guess he spit on a girl, but he spit on her head. I don't know, just a lot of stuff. He was, unfortunately, I hope he's doing better now.
Yeah. Hopefully your teaching put some manners on him.
No. You have an effect, but sometimes
brilliant. What do you like about the life of travel and living in different countries?
Everything is a little different than what you're used to. So something as simple as going to the dentist or getting gas you kind of figure out, and it's not normally hard, but I'm always surprised at the little things that are different, or the expectations are different. And then some things you take for granted at home, where it's just like a phone call to do something that you need to do. All of a sudden now you're like asking friends for advice, like, hey, we'll refine this. Do you know? Hey, how do I do this? Do you know? And it's a whole ordeal to do something that could take 5 minutes if you do that at home. But it's fun. It's always interesting. I'm not bored. It's always many adventures.
Yeah. Cool. On the flip side, then, what do you not like about travel?
I found that most people in the world drive wrong, and I get there and I drive and I'm driving just fine, but they're just doing it all wrong. And I try to help them by yelling at them when they're doing something wrong, but usually I just get confused looks. It's the driving is hard because it's such high risk, and it's not what you're used to, at least where I am. Driving culture.
So I presume you're on some kind of a bike, scooter.
The nomenclature here, they call them motorbikes. In Taiwan, they call them scooters. So I drive a semi-automatic motorbike. 125 feet. Cool.
Which model?
Well, I was told it's a fake Honda. There's So it's got a Honda badge or markings, and it's made from China. It's like a counterfeit. So it gets me to where I'm going most of the time.
What's the single biggest thing that you've learned from traveling?
There's probably no way not to sound corny to say this, but there's this. I find that people everywhere, two things: people everywhere are generally nice and kind and want to help you and curious about you. I mean, no ill will at all. 9 out of 10, maybe even 9.5 out of 10. But probably the thing I learned most is we're all so similar, like from place to place, and all so different at the same time. Strange duality.
Cool. It's an interesting point. Yeah, I can certainly agree there with that. So similar, but yet so different. Single biggest thing that I've learned from traveling, just you need to leave your expectations kind of at the door, and switch off your Western arrogance, because Asia is so different, and it's just different. It's not necessarily better or worse than what you're used to. It's just a totally different experience. So you have to be open to that. And if you're, if you do want to go off traveling for 3 months, 6 months, a year, whatever, you need to be prepared to adapt to another country's ways, and not to, impose your own thing and be like, giving out about the way something is, because that's their country you're in,
No, every time I've had expectations, it's disappointed me, even if they're good ones. And then whenever I go into it not knowing anything, I prefer not to know anything, actually, because you're just taking it for what it is. You're not trying to force what you want it to be.
Okay, Chris, so you're teaching English in Vietnam. What key career or work skills have you learned or honed along the way, besides the teaching English, I suppose, as a skill itself?
I've been fortunate enough to key skills. I'm better at figuring things out. If there's like a problem, it's an obstacle, and there's always a way around it. like doing puzzles, and I've had opportunities here to really work on just we have to do this. How? I have a couple friends who run a small cosmetics company, and I kind of help them with an odd or end here and there.
Yeah.
So I suppose I'm more adaptability, maybe creative and problem solving.
Cool. If there was a single most important piece of advice for anyone looking to travel long term, what would it be?
Don't get bogged down with details. Don't be planning out every day and every city and every bus trip. Because the best thing about traveling long term is the freedom and flexibility. And the moment you take that away, well, you're just following an itinerary then.
Yeah.
I asked this question when I first started traveling long term to a buddy who had been traveling before, and I was looking for really in-depth advice, kind of actually against what I just said. And the only thing he'd tell me is don't have a return ticket.
Yeah.
You book a return ticket 2 months in advance, so you pay the best price, right? 6 weeks, 8 weeks. Pay a little bit more, or a little bit more for your budget to buy a plane ticket, not last minute, but a week ahead of time, 2 weeks ahead of time, because then you're not just planning, I have 16 days before my flight. I have 2 months before my flight.
Yeah,
All of a sudden that's always in your
head.
schedule.
Yeah.
That's it. Don't book a return ticket.
Brilliant. So there you have it, folks. Book a one-way.
Book a one-way. Yeah.
So are there any travel-related resources online or offline that you use yourself that you can recommend?
It's got to be Google Translate. Number one. Yeah. Google Translate. You can download languages, which is huge. So, you don't have a data plan, but you got your phone. I can get brown rice in a Vietnamese market 10 seconds. I can do most things I need to do just with Google Translate.
Yeah. Well, you can download it now, can you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So if you're in a dead zone or just have no data, it's already on your phone.
Nice. That's
really, really helpful. It's got me out of countless jams. And the other one I use, which is equally useful, is Google Maps and Maps.me.
Yeah.
Maps.me is nice, where you can download a whole map of a region or a country, and the navigation is usually pretty good, and you can save little bookmarks. So always I'm finding some place, and I want to save that. I want to come back here.
So there you have it, folks. Maps.me and Google Translate.
Yep.
Cool. Is there any other websites or bloggers or people that you follow kind of to maybe inspire you to travel more, or just that if they have interesting content or useful content? Is there anybody else in particular?
I might go for I might go specific, like activity plus blog, like when I'm searching for something, and see if I can't find somebody with. I don't want to basically read a huge blogger. I want to read about somebody who does a medium-sized audience, and I feel you can have unique content there. There's not anybody I follow regularly. Yeah. And I don't subscribe to anything picture related, like on Insta, because I really like to have a blank slate. I don't want to look at a picture of a beautiful castle for a month and then go to the beautiful castle and then that's what it looked like in the picture. I'd rather be surprised.
Yeah. That's a good approach, actually.
Yeah, I think it's kind of. I've been met with some interesting stares when I tell people that, but I still.
Well, it's good. Makes sense. the map behind you, if, for anybody who's listening, Chris has a big kind of a poster or a map behind him.
You can get these beautiful pictures. It printed in Vietnam. I think I paid 30,000 Vietnamese dong, which is about $1.50 US. Yeah. And I got this printed. I found a nice resolution map. This is called an exaggerated relief map, and it shows different elevations. And I like it because you don't often see it like this. And right now we have China here, and the parts I find most interesting are like up here, and it's seemingly much different than the rest of the mountainous country. And then you have Korea and Taiwan. Taiwan, the whole west coast it's a little bit less mountainous, which is actually why the built-up region compared to the East Coast, and you can kind of see why on that map. So
it's cool.
Yeah, I like it.
Cool. Okay. Do you keep fit as you're traveling, or do you find this a challenge, or was fitness a big thing on your agenda before you kind of started this life of travel?
It wasn't. I would get in the treadmill for 6 minutes and count every minute before I went traveling. And then I had a girlfriend who decided that she wanted to do this routine. It's called Insanity. Maybe you or someone.
I've heard of it.
Yeah. So I'm not gonna let my girlfriend get super fit without me into the winter. And then that kind of launched my whole fit mindset. Yeah. I still do high intensity training. I try to do like a balance of that, and there's some yoga studios around. I try to do that once a week, but sometimes it's once every 2. I have a favorite gym. I used to go to my favorite gym every Tuesday morning. I still do Tuesday morning. Then I can sit down afterward and I eat 2 hard-boiled eggs that they sell at the gym, and I'm just flushed with endorphins. So I bring my computer and I bring my notebooks and I take care of some work. But while I'm traveling and not settled, I found a lot of places in Europe you can get in a day pass, €5. But it's weird because some places much more accessible than others. I was in Greece 6 months ago, and there's not many cheap gyms around. I guess people don't go as much. Bulgaria, holy fucking shit. Cheap gyms everywhere. I would get protein, an entry into a gym, and pre-workout for $5
Jeez.
On average in Bulgaria. Just walking in. You can't do that in America.
God, that's cheap.
But Serbia, just right next door. I got the exchanges wrong. I worked that out later. I was like, that was $14. I paid $14 for the gym. Not all gyms in Serbia were like that, but some countries easy. Other countries pay more for it, look around more for it.
Yeah.
This is actually one of my projects. I'm working on a portable method of weight training. I don't want to get into too much detail now, but one of the nice things about being in Vietnam, it's a manufacturing capital. So that's one of my side projects because it is important to me. And when you're traveling, you're walking a lot, you're not gaining a lot of calories, but you're also not eating regular meals. Maybe you're eating too much, not enough, drinking a lot of beer. I imagine a lot of people are in considerable worse shape after they're doing a long-term trip.
Yeah. Exactly.
I want to know.
For those reasons. I think it's hard I found it hard anyway to keep a routine. Like I would have been maybe going to the gym 3 or 4 times a week back home, doing classes, spinning and, like circuit training, high intensity, a little bit of running and stuff. But I think when you hit the road and you're not really based from anywhere, it is hard to even take a day out to just go to the gym and try and, keep fit. And then when you're eating out the whole time because it's cheap and You might be having the odd 1 or 2 beers with your meal every day. So like it adds up, and you're probably drinking more than you were back home.
Yeah.
And the food isn't fat really in Asia, but you might be eating more. So yeah, I found it a challenge. I joined a gym in Vietnam. It was pretty cheap. It was like 450,000 for the month.
That's good.
So this wasn't bad, and it was open pretty much 6 o'clock in the morning to 10,
Mm-hmm.
10 at night. Close to the hotel and everything, so it worked for me. But yeah, I think fitness for long-term travelers is definitely an area. So best of luck with that.
Thank you. Yeah.
Just getting towards the end now. So how many countries have you been to, Chris?
I don't keep track, but I did count. This is my bragging rights. I did count how many countries I've driven in, and I think I'm at 31.
31.
Or am I
Nice.
17? 31 or 17. I know, big difference, but both kind of sound right off the top of my head. But yeah,
Cool.
I don't always rent cars or motorbikes, but if the opportunity comes up, I'm doing it. There's so much freedom when you can drive places, and you're aware of the rules, both the official and unofficial rules.
Yeah.
The best.
Brilliant. Have you been to Ireland?
I have not.
It should be on your list, Chris.
It is on my list. Partly because I think I've only met one Irishman I didn't like. It's I find the Irish so affable and just easy to talk to, like, and not just bullshit topical talk to, like just
yeah.
Western Europe though is kind of unexplored for me. I've done a little bit of Western Europe before, but if I'm in Europe, I've spent most of my time in the East and in the Central.
Yeah, cool. I want to head over to Eastern Europe as well and do more of the countries there. Like the furthest I've been was maybe Poland, which is not like, I want to do Lithuania, Latvia, Slovakia, Slovenia, Bulgaria. Check out that side of Europe. Where are you off to next then?
I am gonna be going to New Zealand in, what is it, July 8th now? 6 weeks. So I'm gonna be working on a work and travel visa that they give to many countries, America included. So I'm getting in there just under the 30 age limit, and I'll work a year somewhere in New Zealand doing something.
Yeah.
But New Zealand's one of those places, without fail, whenever people talk about, they like kind of look off and they get this gleam in their eye, and they kind of get quiet for a second because they're remembering some beautiful mountain or whatever.
Yeah.
And the Kiwis I've met, honestly, I'm not just bullshitting, between the nationalities, some of my top two, Irish and Kiwi. Like,
thank you.
I was working in Australia. Yeah, I was working in Australia a couple of years ago, and my two favorite guys who were working there, I thought were Australian because we're in Australia. I'm working with Australians, and they just these two guys who happen to be my favorite. My last week, I found out they're actually from New Zealand. So,
cool.
That's
nice.
not the only reason, but I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it looks great. My last guest, actually, on the first episode, Shane, the All Right Traveller, he's off to New Zealand as well. So yes, interesting. The first two guests are off to New Zealand next.
Yeah, well, gotta get there before. I don't know. Maybe I'll see him there.
Who knows? Brilliant. So how can people follow your journey and content, support, or get in touch with you?
Yeah, follow me on Facebook and Instagram, Why Not to Travel. You can also go to the site directly, whynottotravel.com. And just to be clear, I'm not advocating people not to travel.
Yeah.
Some people understand the joke behind it. But yeah, it's full of interesting stories. Some things I couldn't make up.
Yeah.
Truth can be stranger than fiction. And yeah, and if you're interested in getting involved, I'm always looking for more stories. If this has happened to you, get in contact, and I'd like to hear yours.
Brilliant. So that's whynottotravel.com, everybody. So Chris, thank you so much for coming on the Bootcast.
Oh, it's a lot of fun.
No problem. I love what you're doing. It's a nice take on the travel theme. And best of luck with everything, and maybe meet you again someday or have you back on the Bootcast at a later date.
That'd be great, Eugene. Thank you for having me. And,
no problem at all.
Yeah. Take it easy.
Cheers. See you, Chris. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.